What happens when a global giant faces collapse? In the blink of an eye, IBM teetered on the edge of total collapse. Once a tech giant, its darkest hour came when everything seemed lost. How did they fight back from the brink of destruction? Welcome, this is the Roots to Riches channel, where the journey of success unfolds. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications so you never miss out on incredible stories about how the biggest companies in the world began, their toughest challenges, and the inspiring road they took to greatness. Plus, we'll be sharing life-changing tips along the way. Your support is key to growing this channel. Please share these stories with your friends, family, and anyone looking for inspiration. Thanks for being part of the journey. Imagine building something groundbreaking, but watching it slip through your fingers, almost losing it all. Sounds familiar? Well, that's exactly what happened to IBM. But instead of crumbling, they fought their way back, stronger than ever. Let's rewind to the early 1900s. IBM, then known as the Computing Tabulating Recording Company, was founded by a visionary named Charles Flint. It wasn't even called IBM at the start. A small company selling punched card machines for businesses, something revolutionary for its time, but niche, right? Things looked promising, but as any entrepreneur knows, success doesn't come without challenges. IBM hit several bumps along the way. By the late 1920s, the company was struggling to make ends meet. Competitors started popping up, and IBM's own tech was becoming outdated. What would you do in a moment like this? Do you throw in the towel? IBM's pivotal moment came during the Great Depression. Everything was crumbling: the economy, people's livelihoods, and businesses. Imagine working day and night to save your company, only to watch it inch closer to bankruptcy. It's like seeing your dream teetering on the edge of a cliff. IBM was no exception. Cash was draining fast. They were one step away from shutting down. How many of us have felt like we're on the brink of giving up? But here's the twist. This isn't where the story ends. Just when it seemed like the end was inevitable, a leader emerged, Thomas J. Watson Sr. Picture him, a man who believed in IBM's potential so deeply that he took the helm at its darkest hour. And what did Watson do? He didn't just focus on survival, he focused on innovation and expansion. He believed that IBM wasn't just a tech company, it was about people. He invested in his employees, introduced a sales-driven approach, and bet on the future of computing. But Watson wasn't some superhero who had it all figured out. He made mistakes too. At times, IBM's aggressive expansion seemed reckless. Yet amidst these missteps, there was one key element that kept IBM afloat: persistence. Despite Watson's efforts, IBM nearly collapsed again in the 1970s and early 90s, facing stiff competition from newer companies like Microsoft and Apple. Have you ever felt like you're constantly fighting just to keep up with the times? This is where it gets real. IBM was becoming irrelevant. Their core products, mainframe computers, were outdated. The tech world was changing faster than they could innovate. How would you cope? They had two options, sink or pivot. And just when you thought IBM might sink, they pivoted. Here enters Louis V. Gerstner in 1993. His job? Save IBM from the jaws of bankruptcy once again. Can you imagine that pressure? But Gerstner didn't crumble. His famous quote was, "The last thing IBM needs right now is a vision." Bold, right? But what did he mean? He meant IBM didn't need to dream anymore. They needed to act. He shifted the company's focus from hardware to services and software. Think about that for a second. Transforming an entire business model, turning from product to customer-driven solutions. It's the classic adapt or die scenario. How many times have we faced situations where giving up seemed easier? Maybe it's a business, a relationship, or a personal challenge. IBM didn't quit. Even in the darkest of times, they held on, kept innovating, and kept adapting. Here's where the real magic happens. IBM's story is about us. We've all faced those moments of near collapse. But like IBM, success lies not in avoiding failures, but in how we respond to them. Today, IBM stands tall as a tech giant worth billions, but they didn't get there without grit, mistakes, and countless sleepless nights. And if they can survive, if they can rebuild and transform, what's stopping you? What challenge are you facing right now? How can you use that struggle as fuel? Maybe this is the loop you've been waiting to close. Maybe this is your IBM moment. And if you can hold on, adapt, and pivot just like they did, imagine the reward waiting at the end. Remember, the road might be tough, but the end reward? Oh, it's worth every struggle. And hey, if you ever feel like you're about to go bankrupt, just remember, at least you're not trying to revive a multi-billion-dollar company, or are you? Thank you for joining us at the Roots to Riches channel. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, share it with those you care about. Click on the video to my right or left. They are fantastic.